Alright, wait, what is NPCs in vanilla WoW? Okay.
Back in vanilla, Blizzard put out the statistics on which NPCs killed the most amount of players. I'm going to pick 10 of them and explain why they were so deadly. You'd think they all just be raid bosses, right? Well, that's surprisingly not the case. Number 10, Pillager. The Defias Pillager. The Pillagers actually came in 5th on Blizzard's list, but I picked them out for number 10 to start things out interesting. The Defias Pillagers hold the distinction of being the most deadly low-level mob in the game. And for those of you wondering, Hogger doesn't even make it onto the top 20 list. The reason for the deadliness of the Pillagers is twofold. One, their fireballs hit a lot harder than they really should have, and could 3 to 4 shot players of similar level. And 2, they usually spawned in packs of 2s, and it was very easy to pull multiple at a time by mistake. Killing Pillagers was akin to carefully planning a trash pull in a dungeon, and since most players were used to steamrolling over mobs up until the Pillagers, they were usually met with a fireball-y
Pillagers
surprise.
would like two-shot you, that's
because average quest mobs really should not have hit that hard.
Was.
Number 9, the Warlock
terrible.
Pets Fell Hunter, Imp, and Succubus. For some reason, Blizzard tracked kills from Warlock Pets, and 3 of them made the top 20 list of deadly NPCs. Fell Hunters are 20th, Imps 19th, and Succubus come in at 13th, which is pretty much their popularity in PvP at the time. While Fell Hunters are better than Succubus for PvP, you did get the Succubus before the Fell Hunter while leveling, which could have contributed to why it had higher kills than the Fell Hunter.
I didn't remember that.
Or it could be that the vanilla Succubus had way less clothes than it does today, and was more popular because of that, in addition to it also being
probably true,
pretty good in PvP as well. Now, why aren't hunter pets on the list? Well, because hunters have a crap ton of pets to choose from, and not just 4 like the Warlock. Number 8, the Harvest Watcher. The Harvest Watcher is also another low-level mob in Westfall.
Seems like people that
Westfall was just a very
Westfall.
dangerous place to level in vanilla, because, spoiler alert, there will be one more mob from there later on this list. The Harvester came in at 18th on Blizzard's list, right above Warlock Imps. Harvesters, being mechanical NPCs, were immune to a lot of random spells and abilities. They also had a very high detection radius, about 2 times farther than normal, so if you weren't careful you could aggro one by mistake while killing something else. Number 7, the Gadgetzan Bruiser. These were the bodyguards of Gadgetzan, a neutral city in a higher level zone. If you attacked one of the guards, every single guard in range would attack you.
Why would they kill people?
And they hit hard. It's pretty easy to figure out why they had a high kill count. They'd
That's
also
so
attack you if you were hated by Gadgetzan / the Steamweedle cartel, or if you healed or rezzed any player just killed by a bruiser. Number 6, Osirian the Unscarred, the last and hardest boss in AQ20. A boss that required great raid coordination, and
just take him to the
crystals wouldn't bug out. 2 things not very plentiful in vanilla WoW. Number 5, the Defias Trapper, another low-level mob from Westfall. The Trappers have an ability called Backstab, which requires the target to be behind you in order to use. Except the Trappers would often use it from the front as well. If you happen to turn your back on one of these guys, you're as good as dead, since they used to backstab every second. They also usually come in packs of 2 or 3, so you have to be careful and only pull one at a time.
No idea.
Otherwise, you could get one behind your back by mistake, and you just die in seconds. The Trapper only came in at 9 on Blizzard's list, while the Pillager came in at 5th, making the Trapper the 2nd most deadly mob in Westfall, but still more deadly than any other low-level mob in the world. Number 4, the Stormpike Bowman. If you've wondered why I skipped around on Blizzard's top 20 list so much,
that's not a surprise
it's because
at all.
nearly half the NPCs on the list are from AV. I chose to include the Bowman because it has the most kills of all the non-elite NPCs from AV, as anyone who's done AV as Horde can attest to. These guys are a huge pain in the ass. They have a ridiculously long range of attack, and are at one of the most deadly choke points in the battleground, the entrance to the Alliance base. For those of you who don't know, Alliance has a huge geographical advantage in AV.
Not true at all.
In order to get to their base to win the game, you have to go across a bridge, with 2 towers on either side of it, filled with bowmen who can easily hit you as you run across, since they have a godly range to their attacks. In contrast, the Horde entrance is just a gate you have to go through, with bowmen half as dangerous. Number 3, the Mangled Cadaver, the number 1 most dangerous mob on the EU side of WoW. The Mangled Cadaver is a trash mob in Stratholme that applied a very nasty debuff to players called Cadaver Worms,
it's not a surprise.
which reduce healing by 100%, while at the same time doing damage to you for 10 minutes. If you could not remove this really long debuff, you would die. which a lot of people did. Number 2, Valistraz the Corrupt, or
I'm
more
surprised how many
commonly
people
known
even
as
rated.
Valistraz the Guildbreaker, the second boss of Blackwing Lair and one of the harder bosses of the entire
It
raid.
had one mechanic.
Valistraz
It's a
is
lot.
part of the reason Blizzard started making the first couple of bosses of raids easier than the rest, seen as the boss before Valistraz the Corrupt was also pretty difficult. The fight itself had a guaranteed death mechanic. Every once in a while, a player would receive a buff that made them do a ton more damage than everyone else, but once it ended, the player would die. The
I
reason
remember
for
this
its high
buff
kill
very well.
count was just because the boss was crazy hard and one of the first bosses of the raid. So it was easier to get to, and lots of guilds
Shows
just
you
never
even through
got
Ice
past
Block.
him. And number 1, the most deadly NPC in vanilla WoW. And that, of course, was Drakthar, the Horde General in AV. Remember how I said a lot of the NPCs on the list were just NPCs from AV?
Yep,
Well,
he
pretty
killed
much all the
tons.
NPCs surrounding Drakthar were also pretty high on the list.
I'm not
And
surprised.
Drakthar was a lot more deadly than the Alliance counterpart, Vandar's Stormpike.
Yeah, see?
Because the Alliance could actually get to Drakthar more often than the Horde could, because of that stupid bridge.
No,
Oh
that's
my god,
not
that
true.
bridge.
Like what?
AV is such bullshit.
That's not like. This
And
is,
if you like the video,
this
you
is
could
such an agenda video, man.
No, it's not.
Like,
it's the
such an
truth.
agenda. Like, what do you mean it's the truth? No, he's just bringing.
This
his...
is what I trust me. I spent way more time in AV back in the day than you did. It's completely true. The bridge was absolute.
That's not. I can guarantee
cancer.
you didn't. Okay. Like I no man. What was your ranking? What was your ranking?
What was my
Yeah.
PvP ranking?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got up to rank 13.
No, you didn't. Do you want me to look you up right now?
Well, it doesn't
Okay.
show. It was on my other account.
Oh. Okay.